simple thing about why are we doing this? And it's our investment in you. And Scott, I want you kind of to lay out for us about why do we care about this and where's the business going and how does this fit? And if you would kind of walk us through, and I know you know people from various businesses, but you may not have met some from API and all that. So I'm going to turn it back over to you. Just kind of give us a little bit of an overview about how you think our development's coming on this and why we're doing it.
Thanks, Dave. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Scott Miller. I am Vice President of Operations, Illinois, Indiana for Munches Supply. I used to be the leader in Michigan, so that's why early on I was catching up with a couple of my friends over there. I thought about this when Dave asked me to speak, and I think it's really important. I wanted to touch base real quick on really what's the difference between a manager and a leader, because this session and this training will really help you transition from just being a manager to a leader. So I did my research, I thought about it, and I just want to go through a couple bullet points if I could, Dave. So
sure.
If you think you're a leader or you think you're a manager, I'd really love to have you think this through as we go through it. So leaders create a vision, managers create goals. Leaders are change agents and managers maintain the status quo. Leaders are unique, managers copy. This one's real important. Leaders take risk, but managers control risk. Leaders are in it for the long haul and managers think short term. And that's a big one here, I think, for us is a lot of our managers come into work and you put on what I call the red fire hat, and it spins around on your head because you're being reactive to immediate things that happen every day. And leaders really know how to motivate the team to handle those type of things. And that's a key one for me. Leaders grow personally. Managers rely on existing proven skills. Leaders build relationships. Managers build systems and processes. Leaders coach and managers direct. I think that's a huge one is if you're just a manager, you're just so used to coming in and given the task and the things that you have to do and check the boxes, and leaders do coaching. Leaders create fans, managers have employees. And my last one is here at Munches, I come to work every day because I love the people I work with. I really love the company, and I make a difference every day because the company empowers me to do that. And I can impact customer service. I can impact processes. I can impact and coach my people. So at the end of the day, Dave, I think that sort of kind of sets the tone unless you want more than that.
The first part is we've made an investment in you. And if you think about it, we've got a number of people in this program. Our goal is to get 50 through the end of the year. The second piece, this is your investment in you. So if you think about this, your investment in you is basically this. You can decide this is one-time training, or you can decide this is a transformational moment in how you lead. And the choice is yours. So as we go through this, I hope you'll make the choice to make this more. Both will work, but I think you'll find it's better if we go to take the higher road on that. We know the program works, and I want to explain to you what it is because we tested it. And then finally, I want to describe what ready means. Let's put our program together and go through what ready means. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask people to mute if they can. Otherwise, I'm going to mute everybody. So here we go. Zoom Camp. That's the first thing, because we're all going to get better at this. Zoom Camp has a couple things. One is everybody's expected to have their camera on. Unless you've got a huge set of issues that your internet is in a really sucky place, camera's on. The second one is I certainly encourage you to think about getting a set of headphones because it doesn't pick up all the background noise. The third is, do you use your phone or don't use your phone to dial in? Most people will just use the computer. If you use the phone, there's an important fact I need to tell you. If you don't link your phone and the computer in Zoom, when we go into a breakout room, you will have an out-of-body experience. Your voice will be with one group and your picture is going to be with another, and it won't make any sense. It usually happens to one person, and then the whole team kind of figures out that that really does matter. And the other thing is messaging. There's in the middle of your screen, it's called chat. If you have a question or something that you can't, or you want to talk to the whole group or whatever, that's what we're going to use going forward. That's kind of enough to know on one-on-one on Zoom Camp. So the next part I want to describe for you is, what are we trying to accomplish? We're trying to build leadership capability. And so we want to ensure that every manager has the foundational elements of people leadership, and that we can provide a consistent process and a consistent vocabulary to everybody. Now, what does that kind of look like? Well, a couple of things. We know why we want to do it, and that's why we're measuring it. We know that when you have managers who coach, you get better results. When you invest in managers, you get better results. When you do this, there's faster ramp-up time. And when somebody goes from being like an assistant branch manager to a branch manager, or from an individual contributor to a branch manager, the ramp-up is so much faster. We can improve engagement, how people feel to the company, and it affects turnover. We can improve your confidence. We can help you better manage employment risk. And then it helps us compete for talent, because people want to join organizations where they're investing in people. So that's the why part, and we will actually measure the success based on those criteria. So what I wanted to do is take a minute with you and walk you through the challenge that we have. And the challenge is this: we have 50 branch managers, maybe a little bit more than that, and then we have 5 to 10 more that we need to grow every year. Now, we've had this approach. Some of you have been in the Hardy Branch Manager Certification Program. Some of you have never heard of it. Some of you have been through the Branch Managers Training Learning Path that's available, a self-paced thing that Scott put together in his team last year. There are a bunch of other training resources that are available, including the Munch Learning Network. All this stuff is there, but how people experience it doesn't seem to all fit together into one, and you don't know how the pieces fit. What we did in this program is to say, let's design something we're going to pilot and learn. But the most important thing is it's got to be relevant, practical, and easy to apply. There was this old model that's been around for a long time called the GROW model, which is the most widely used model on the planet. We've used before. And that if we tested it with branch managers, we can continue to improve. And learning is so different than how you're used to it. My role is I am a facilitator. I am not the instructor. I will help ask questions and guide you, but the real deal is you're going to learn from the other people in this group. And when we were done with the first wave, the scores on a 1 to 10 scale of the 20 people that were in the class, they rated it, the lowest score was an 8, and most were 9s and 10s. That's a really good experience. And if you ask me why, it's because the participants in the class decided to step up. If you do that, it goes from being training to a transformational moment, and you're going to learn and build a whole network of people from across the country and, in fact, North America that will help you get better and learn from, and that's a very good thing. It's also about time. There's all the time there is, and I can't ever give you more time. What I can tell you is it's about how you use the time that you have. We're going to complete this in 10 sessions, and every session 75 minutes long. There's a morning session or an afternoon session. You get to decide, and if for some reason you can't make it, and it's a good reason, we'll make it up for you. You have to be you can miss 2 classes, but you have to make them up. And so the reason we're doing this isn't because I'm going to be happy. The reason we do it is your coworkers depend on you coming to class ready. And the other part that was the thing that people liked most about this in the first wave was the chance to meet colleagues from across the other business units. You build your network, you build your career. So that's a way to think about it. Now, this is based on also on some research that we know. The big shift that's happened in the last 10 years is the focus from creating a culture that coaches, because the demands of the people who work for us, they want something different. In the past, it was about, I only work for my paycheck. Now it's about people talking about purpose. It used to be about job satisfaction. Now it's about, I want to understand how we're going to do development. It used to be, hey, who's your boss? Now it's about, it's an ongoing conversation about, how am I doing? And the last is, it used to be about my job, and now it's about my life, because people blend their home and their work, and the whole person comes to work. And so we looked at the latest research about what growing organizations do, and they focus on first-line manager leadership development, and they focus on coaching. And if they do those two things, amazing things happen. Now, the part that I want you to think about is, and we'll talk about this in every single session, you wear 3 hats. You know about the manager hat. You've seen that. That's the traditional stuff you do. Did you get the time cards in? All the stuff you do and moving the inventory and all the stuff that you do to run your branch. The leader hat is probably something that Scott was describing as playing at a higher level. You are the face of the company to the people you lead, which means you're the one who should be setting the vision and understand our company's strategy and be able to talk about values, because that's what leaders do. The new skill we're also going to focus on is coaching. We're used to telling everybody, but guess what? If people discover on their own the answer, because you ask questions and you provide constructive feedback, they'll actually do what you want them to do. It's easier if you take a coaching approach. It's more effective if you take a coaching approach. So we'll talk more about that. But the 3 hats you wear are really important to understand going forward. Now, the next piece is, how are we going to get this done? And yeah, it looks like a lot to get done. You know what? We're going to get everything done before the 4th of July. We will celebrate. We'll have graduation. We'll do all the other kinds of stuff. But it's literally every other week for 75 minutes. I've got one in the morning, but the morning could be the lunchtime for some people. It might not work to you. When I found out what the reality is, some people choose one all the time, morning or the afternoon. Some people flip back and forth based on the day, and you decide what works for you. So that's kind of there's one, and these are in Central Time Zone. There's one at 10:30, and there's one at 4 p.m. Central, and that works with everybody, including the West Coast. So that's kind of where we are going forward. So this class, this is huge. There are 30 people in this. And if you look from it, there's some of the best managers we have, period. So here's the thing. You may be the most experienced manager here, and you think you know everything because you've done it forever. I guarantee you, based on what the first group told us, said, I learned a lot. And the one you're going to learn more about is about yourself and the why do you do what you do. And that's the part that they told me they got the most. And the other part is, if you're new in the role or you're new to the company, you have something to share. You have just as many experiences, but they're probably different than the people who've been here from a long time. And so we work together. And the part that I find so interesting is, because we work in such different environments, you learn from that. I had the call this morning with the Canadians, and it was just great about how they approach things and how you approach things. It's different. So we'll learn more about that going forward. So here's what we're going to do for session 2, which is on March 17th. And I am so excited for that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send to you a link that will come from Integrity Solutions, and it's going to come to you tomorrow. And what it is, it's a behavioral assessment. There's certain things about you, about your preference for how you like to be communicated to. And this will help you understand you, but it will also help you understand that behavior styles are one of the most important things you can understand in order to be an effective coach. When you talk in the person's preferred communication style, your message gets through. The second thing that will happen is, on Monday, you're going to get a video recap from me. It'll come in an email, and it weighs 1 to 3 minutes, and you just watch it. It basically summarizes everything. The reason we do that is message repetition. The more times you repeat something, the more times it will sink in. Now, the focus in the next session is going to be around your leadership brand. Oh, this is a great one that you'll learn about yourself. So the way to think about this is when you walk into the room with your team, what do you bring? What do they see about you? Everybody has a brand. Some of us have one that's good. Some of us have one that's maybe not so effective, but everybody has one, and we're going to try to define what that means. So being ready for this session means that you've talked to your team. Here's what happens. Somebody attends this and they've never told their team, and they think that you're having an outer body, change or something, or that there's something wrong with you. So you need to tell them as you're experimenting and coaching that I'm taking this as part of the class. We'll give you more to talk about that. If you say nothing, it's not helping you. They're going to think you're weird. The second thing is you want to talk to your manager, because at some point in time, what's going to happen is you're going to say, hey, I'm busy. They say, I want to skip the class. Well, just skip the class. Yeah. That doesn't help you. And so that's the way to make sure they're committed to it. And then the one that's most important is your commitment to you. And again, my question was, when was the last time you made a commitment in you? And most of us would say it's been a while. And then the other pieces I'm asking for is a picture of your branch and your team. And you're going to send that to me. And then so the email back to me, that way I know you were here. The email back to me is, the first part is you need to tell me you're in. Because if you're not in and you're doing it because of somebody else, it doesn't work. So I'm hoping you're in. The second is, what's your definition of leadership?
Guys out there with a truck, and you guide them in there?
Oh, somebody's got a truck that's got to be guided. And so your definition of leadership, and then I want you to just write me a short thing about what is your leadership brand? Why am I asking for that? Because that's the whole center of the discussion in the next section. And I'm trying to get you to be prepared. So if you send me that email, you'll get the reminder on Monday. That will help you. So that's everything that's going to happen. And glad to, at this point, answer any questions. You can hit the space bar to unmute. But let me be really clear. This is about you and your growth. My role is to facilitate the best conversation that's possible for you to learn through doing things and learning from your cohorts. That's entirely different than any training thing most of you have ever had. And if at some point in your life you had a bad experience in training or school or whatever, forget this, because this is all active learning. This is all stuff that's applied. And we know from what worked last time, we prove that it does work.